This is Goku-san, DBC, and welcome to the first of 3 new comic book reviews. I said that I wasn't sure what exact order I would go in, but I've decided this will be the first of the 3. Next will be Spawn, issue 259, and then the next one after that will be Street Fighter versus G.I. Joe number 5. Now this will be the first of 4 special reviews. And this comic is from 1987, which of course the original 4th season was going to be based off of the storyline from this. Of course it says, number 1 in a 4-issue limited series, The Transformers Headmasters. And of course it was $1 when this originally came out. Now, of course, this was when it was done by Marvel, as we see with Captain America's head there. And it says here, introducing an all-powerful, all-new generation of Transformers. A pretty cool cover for the most part. Now, some of the ink, color, and stuff hasn't aged too well in these comics that, of course, as I mentioned, I picked up at the comic book convention. And I'm going to start naming, though it's not going to be, it's just going to be comic book reviews on my YouTube channel. I'm going to start calling these retro comic book reviews, anything from the 80s and 90s, though I don't consider 80s retro, but that's what they call it now. But we have a good look here with the Transformers enslavement going on, of course, as we see here, with a Scorpion Transformer, obviously. It says Ring of Hate. And we see here stuff going on. You evil stains this world, Decepticons. Too long has your tyrannical rule cast its shadow over Cybertron. But no more, your end fast approaches. Of course, we see lots of destruction. We're outgunned Scorponok. Your cowardice, Decepticrates. Yeah. The name Decepticon, but your destruction would serve no purpose. Come. And yeah, they're of course transforming. And here we see a classic Disney ad, and for Oreos of all things. Back when the Mickey Mouse Club was still around. And of course, you would be surprised to know how many people in music today were members of the Mouseketeers. And here we have the next page. And we see right now that they're escaping, obviously. And here we see back at Autobot. Fools, there is nothing to celebrate. And here we see an ad for a classic car toy. Of course, you may recognize a few of these Transformers, obviously, if you watch the original OG series. I have observed nebulas for many. It is at peace. No evidence of war taints its surface. Uh, but Fortress Maximus, thousands of verons ago, the great Autobot warrior Optimus Prime left Cybertron with many of his followers of his, and they were never heard from again. Interesting design, of course, on this Transformer. Kind of reminds me a little bit of a few other characters from the old era. And they're discussing things about what to do because the major war that's been going on Cybertron. So they travel the spacecraft warps across the void between Cybertron and Nebulous. And here we see an ad for Robotech, the role-playing game. And now back here, of course, we see them traveling, and Transformers gain out, obviously, the ship. And we see cheesy style humans and stuff there, of course, making out. The overall art style of them kind of reminds me of some of the older He-Man type comics and things, overall art style wise, at least with the humans. Interesting there, seeing hands hold up what looks like, of course, Saturn. And we see a big political debate going on in their Senate, their version of a Senate or Parliament. And they're debating about things like, for instance, and here we see this person saying, or Transformer saying, "Greetings, leaders of Nebulous. I am Fortress Maximus. My people, the Autobots, come to your world in peace. When your sun is at its zenith, tomorrow my envoy, Blur, will arrive to discuss our desire to live in harmony with you." And of course, this is causing somewhat of an uproar, I guess you could say, between the different political leaders. And of course, he's saying, "Lies. Already one of his kind has struck down a Nebulan citizen." So obviously, he's opposed to the Autobots. And trust me, he'll come into play later on. If you saw the Headmaster's, 4 episodes. That was going to be a 4th season, but just wasn't pulling in the rain, so they decided to cut it off, though the full season did air in Japan, just not here in America. You can find a special Japanese, dub, English sub, box set on probably Amazon or eBay if you actually want to see the entire Headmaster's saga. But of course, we see here armaments and a lot of discussing on things. And here we see, of course, another ad, and this time for a candy which is no longer around. And here we see, "No, it's a full-scale attack." Yep. And he starts attacking him. with his full military might. And of course, Decepticons decide to take advantage of it. And they have to get back. Obviously, they did quite a bit of damage to the Autobots. So the question is, what will Maximus do? Fortress Maximus. Which kind of sounds like a name from the Roman Empire, doesn't it? Well, at least the Maximus part. And trust me when I say there's probably a story behind the names chosen. Of course, we see this grand military-style palace of sorts, which is quite interesting. Talk about bumped up security measures. Ugh. Yeah, some of these pages can get sticky. Of course, here's a bulletins where it mentions like questions and answers, and that is about Conan. This is towards the end where they're looking out and they see, of course, the group of all the different Autobots there. Blur, one of the few, of course, that we remember, along with Hot Rod, which, of course, for a time there, Hot Rod was obviously the new leader, Rodimus Prime, but he gave up the, which we saw at the end of Season 3, the matrix of leadership back over to Optimus Prime. And like he's saying, they have taken no hostile action. Not yet, but these are cold, calculating machines. They are programmed to destroy us. What are you waiting for? Please, you must listen to us. We mean you no harm. Let us prove it. And so he takes off his head. And there's a whole story behind this, and this is how the whole Headmasters mini saga begins. And allows them to go inside and allows a person from each planet and stuff to be in each Autobot's head. And that's how it all starts up. It says, now, 56 cents a copy. Yeah, don't you wish comics were that cheap now, when on average they're $4? And that was a review for Transformers Headmasters, issue 1 of 4. Please remember to thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, follow me at twitter.com/GokuSunDBZ, as well as on Google+, and this will be the next comic book review. Spawn 259 Part 1 of Satan Saga Wars, and then after that will be Street Fighter Cross or versus G.I. Joe number 5. So stay tuned for those. Just remember, same YouTube time, same YouTube channel.